Welcome aboard. It's Captain G to Global War 85's Mayday 7.2 NATO. Dateline, Lille, France, headquarters of 2nd French Military Region. The commanding general looked down from his helicopter at the flow of refugee traffic streaming across the border from Belgium. Brussels was only 100 kilometers from his headquarters and currently occupied by Warsaw Pact armor units. How was he supposed to move his forces through all that mess? Nonetheless, orders were orders. He needed to find a way through. All right, two minor bits of housekeeping. The first is on the Warsaw Pact turn. They moved some of their pitchfork armed peasants from West Czech up, and paramilitary can move in home country, but can't leave home country. You can build them in outside of home country, but then they can't move at all. Or you can build them in home country for defense, and then they can move. So we had to return that guy to his garrison. Second is on the U.S. turn. Hambone placed his attack bomber and stealth bomber in southern France instead of southern England. The difference is all about joint air bases. NATO has joint air bases, and you've seen, I've probably called out before how I use the US AWACS aircraft in some bases and this for others, and that's all about the flag. If it's a joint US NATO base, then the NATO and US aircraft have full rights from that base. They can scramble if they're fighters or air superiority fighters. They can conduct surgical strikes if they're bombers. However, at the French facilities in question, they cannot do that. US fighters cannot scramble from any air base in France, and U.S. bombers cannot conduct surgical strikes from French air bases or any air base in NATO that is not a joint air base, like Rhineland, which sadly we're not currently in possession. So that was corrected and moved. All right, so those are the two minor correction points. Let's go directly to the planning phase. Sadly, we lost a base, so instead of having 4 dice, we only have 3. So instead of rolling 3 techs, we're only rolling 2. Number 8 is seed, suppression of enemy air defense. We're at stage 3, so we're using 2 dice to finish that one off. And number 10 is our old friend, chemical weapons. Despite all of Warsaw Pact's claim otherwise, we've never made it past stage 1 in chem, and we've rolled for it every turn. So we want high numbers, Here we go. All right, 8, 11, and the 7 fail is fine. So that is super awesome, fantastic. The suppression of enemy air defense is now confirmed for NATO. That's achieved, that's complete. And chemical doctrine, we move to stage 2. Stage 2. All right, so that completes our tech rolls. Let's slide these down because we have more things to roll. So once again, my friends, we are looking at the red dice of nuclear release authority. So in the NATO reference sheet, NATO is allowed, right now we currently have battlefield nuclear release against Warsaw Pact because of their possession of our home country land zones. Now they have not only all 3 German land zones, but NATO headquarters in Benelux. So if once that condition is met, NATO gets 4 nuclear release dice for theater nuclear weapons. So I need an 11 or more on any one of these 4 dice. So this is fingers crossed that we get this one. High numbers, high numbers. Oh, wah, wah, wah. So a 10 was close. 514, not so close. So sadly, the NATO Council felt we're just not quite ready for that much nuke. And now would have been a great time. Oh, well, we can only hope and dream. I am taking off planned attacks that were conditional on having theater nuclear weapons. And hopefully you'll get to see them again soon. But perhaps not. All right. So last but not least, the step that I always seem to forget, where did I put my clipboard, is purchases. So let's jump over here. Coming into this turn, NATO had 46 IPP. Actually, let me place you here because I've got these arrayed by how I'm going to set them up. And it helps if you see everything. All right, so we are producing 1 diesel electric attack submarine for 4. We're producing a total of 4 SAMs, 1, 2, 3, 4 for 12. We're producing 4 mechanized infantry units, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 16. We are producing 3 paramilitary units, 1, 2, 3 for 6, 2 each. And we're producing 1 French fighter squadron. So that is 8, remainder 0. And look at that, we did our purchases when we're supposed to do our purchases. And there was great rejoicing, and Sir Robin's minstrels were consumed. And we're also producing 2 anti-ship missiles and only 5 cruise missiles. I was hoping for 6, but they went and took one of the cruise missile factories, which is very sad. All right, combat. Hopefully you can see all of the combat in this location. So I'll start you up in the north. Can you see? I can't tell because of the timers up there. Yeah, I think you can see. All right, cruise missile strike number 1. This is a facility strike at the minor army base in Rhineland. The NATO major base becomes a minor when the enemy possesses it. Same for any coalition. So if you capture an enemy major facility, it becomes a minor. So we're going to hit that with a cruise missile, 1D2, no AMD, no defense. North Germany, well, that cruise missile is coming from southern France, for those who are keeping score at home. The submarine in A11 is firing a cruise missile into North Germany at the airbase there. Again, no AMD, so those are black. Those are cruise missile strikes 1 and 2. Number green 1 is liberation of Benelux. So the commander of the 2nd French Military Regiment found a way through. So he's sending in both mechs, 1 SAM. We're being joined by mechanized infantry from southern France, moving 1, 2, Picardy into Benelux. So that's 3 mechs. And this airborne unit, these guys are walking across the border. They are not flying. And let me go ahead and take you closer so you can see this. The reason they are not flying is Tabletop Tactician has adequately, more than adequately, defended any type of air attack with his SAMs. So I'm sending in ground units only. They will retire. So against those 2 MBTs, I have that ground force and a supporting cruise missile fired from the major air base in Great Britain. And one of the things we talked about with the joint bases is the U.S. can also fire cruise missiles from those major air bases using their inventory of missiles, but gives them a forward launch site. So that cruise missile is coming in first strike. So that is Liberation Battle 1. The last battle, Battle 4 numerically, but well, technically it's Airstrike 3. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. South Yugoslavia. So from the major joint air bases, in Lazio and Marmara. We're firing 1 cruise missile each. 1, 2, 1, 2. We have a spy satellite. So we'll get target select against the Soviets. He does have a SAM. He has opted not to shoot AMD at the 2 cruise missiles. He's keeping his SAM locked and loaded on the NATO aircraft that are also participating in the surgical strike. So from southern France, this Mirage 4 strategic bomber is flying 1 Piedmont, 2 Lazio, 3 right over the Soviet fleet, and 4 into South Yugo. And they're able to fly over the fleet because there's no fighter aircraft in that sea zone. And then NATO is sending 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 2 attack bombers as well. And then from Lazio, 1 fighter is an escort, and from Marmara, 1 fighter on seed. So it was conditional. If I did not get seed, both these fighters would be flying escort because the Soviets have a fighter in South Yugo. And if I did get seed, I only assigned 1 fighter to seed because I needed the second in case he scrambled. So I deterred him scrambling, but he's up high with the bombers. This guy's flying down low, so I only get 1 of the 2 to actually roll for seed. And that are all the attacks. Yes. All right, so let's roll some dice. And sadly, we're not rolling any nuclear dice. That's a shame. All right, so attack number 1. Yeah, so this is the Army base at Rhineland. So actually, I'm shuffling up 2 dice, but it's just 1 dice. So that's why I had the blue and the white. Okay, so that's 1d6. Sorry, 1d6 dice, but I'm rolling as a d2. I'll show you what I mean. All right, 3. 1, 2, 3 is 1 point damage. 4, 5, 6 is 2 point damage. So the dice in this case favored tabletop. So 1 point damage at the Army base in Rhineland. Now the air base in North Germany, same thing. 4, outstanding. So 2 points damage to that minor air base in North Germany. All right, 1, 2, North German air base. All right, so those battles are resolved. Let's move swiftly and with purpose. I have a cruise missile coming in. We're going to do Benelux cruise missile. So 1 cruise missile at 5. Oh, can you hear the song? Cruise missile. 3. Outstanding. So that is first strike. That kills 1 of the 2 Warsaw Pact MBTs in North Germany, leaving him with 1 MBT. All right. So I have attacking an airborne who's walking, so he's attacking at a 2 instead of his normal air assault 3. And I have 3 mechs that are attacking at 3s as usual. Outstanding. Look at the French. Oh, say what you want, but we did very good, we? 1, 2, 3. So we got him. We got the communists. We've liberated Brussels, which is great because the chairman left his keys. All right, so just 1 4 in defense. 5. Now, take you back here real quick. So that destroys the MBT. 1 was killed by the cruise missile first strike. The other was killed in battle. And then the retired SAMs are destroyed in place. All right. And so now this becomes liberated, which is awesome. NATO will move up 4 So I'm going to move up from 41 to 45. And Warsaw Pact will move down 4. And that gives us 3 mechs, and I'll chip it out later. A airborne and a Sam that retired. Sam was in case he scrambled before I damaged his airbase. Okay, so that brings us down to South Yugo and the Soviets. All right, so this is a surgical strike, and there's a specific sequence. So we have seed in this. So the first thing is we've suppressed his SAM. His SAM will fire at the same time that all the bombers are dropping. It's not first strike because of the suppression. But my seed fighter with the spy sat and the cruise missiles get to come in. So let me roll the seed fighter. If I get a hit at a 6 or less on this, I can kill the suppressed SAM, and he doesn't even get a shoot at my fighters or my aircraft. Come on, low number. Did you see that? 4. So that kills his SAM in accordance with the sequence of operations and 14.7.5.4. I love bureaucracy. All right, so that's awesome. I'm super thrilled at that. All right, so I do have 2 5s for the cruise missiles. I have 2 attack bombers that are rolling 7s. I'm going to use these. And then the strategic bomber is carpet bombing. That's 5 dice at 2. 5 dice at 2. So this is the surgical strike. I get target select with the black dice if I get hits, and then I have to follow Flak 88's casualties for anything else that may have hit. Low numbers. Well, sadly, 11 and 8 on the cruise missiles. I got 1 hit from a bomber, miss, and all of the carpet bombings were missed. They were all too high. So all of that for just 1 casualty. And let me check my... I think I'm killing a mech, because Sam is already killed from the seed. So a mech, sadly. No Marines. No Marines. I needed those cruise missiles so I could target select those Marines before they went anywhere amphibiously. All right. So that resolved our final battle. Less than exciting. All right, let's move to non-combat. So I'm going to return the fighters to their points of origin. 1 fighter to Marmara, 1 fighter to Lazio. I'm going to return the strategic bomber to southern France. I'm going to return the 2 attack bombers to southern France as well. While I'm there, before I trap myself, this SAM is moving from southern France to Picardy. The SAM in southern France is moving to Picardy. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. Okay, that's it. That's all the air. And I think that's all the non-combat. I didn't have a lot left. Yeah, that's it. Super awesome, fantastic. The helicopters are staying. The general needs that to observe. All right. So moving swiftly as we close toward the end, let's place units. So can I take you back 1 step? How about that? All right, let's come up here. So cruise missiles had 5, fired 5, produced 5, end up with 5. ASMs had 2, fired none. And I built 2, so I now have 4 anti-ship missiles next turn. So watch out, Soviet transports. All right, this is all, well, the sub is going here off this minor shipyard in M6. Submarine, diesel electric, NATO submarine in M6. In Lazio, I'm producing 2 SAMs and a paramilitary. So 2 SAMs and 1 paramilitary. I'll add him and ship him out later. So that's the Italian equation. All right. Let's go up to the French. For the French, we're building a mech and a SAM in southern France. We're building 2 mechs in Picardy to support the 2nd Military District, headquarters in Lille. And we're building a fighter in southern France. Okay, that's the French connection. Last but not least, so I have 2 paramilitary I am building in Marmara, a SAM I'm building in Marmara, and a mech I'm building in Marmara. All right, good deal. That is all of the units. Let's go to collect income now. We only have one thing after collect income, and it's a new thing. So my base income this term coming, I'm smashing my little Italian diesel electric. My base income was 41 minus the 6 for oil, left me with 35, but I just took back Belgium, Benelux, 2, 3, 4. So that gives me 39 IPP, which is my new base, 45 minus 6, 39. And last but not least is nuclear fallout. I did not get theater release, so I didn't damage any bases, so we didn't have that conversation. The battlefield nukes, I didn't use any, but I did during the Warsaw Pact turn, so everyone's fallout counter should be at 1. And we'll see where it is after the Soviet turn. Next up, Flak 88 and Soviet Global. This is Captain G, over and out.